Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
How you doing?
I'm good. So, I'm very surprised that you decided to do it early because I was like, on the West Coast? Because,
I am,
what?
but I got kids,
I
so I know how to
know.
wake up early.
Right. My son was up super early. So, I get it. So
Yes,
much to talk to you about. Oh my gosh. Like, you have so much going on. I have given you a
yes.
nickname.
What's that?
King of the virtual concerts. Okay. Let me tell you, we have been enjoying you, John. I'm like, they called John and he's right there. And so I just want to know, like, how does that work for you? Are they like, look, get John on live. We need somebody singing.
Well, it's there's not a lot of artists who sing live well and play an instrument and can do everything themselves.
Yeah.
And put on a show. So it's playing to my strengths.
And this is why you're an EGOT winner, okay? As you can see, I address you with that. I'm like, y'all know we talking to the EGOT winner, John Legend. The last time you came to the studios, we were talking about the process that you're doing music and how you're really like juggling everything. And everything that I have listed here, I'm like, how does he fit this all into like daily life? Because you have a new album coming out, which we're going to talk about. Very
Yes.
excited for you with that because you've been kind of teasing us
Yes.
with the songs.
Well, I've been teasing you because we're still finishing the album. I haven't finished mixing it yet.
Oh, so you give us a little taste.
There's a few string arrangements that aren't done, and it's hard to do strings when people can't get together. So there's a few things that we haven't done yet that we're trying to finish, but the songs are done, all the vocals are done, and we just have a few different overdubs, as we call them, that we have to do, and then some mixing. So
Okay.
we're close. We'll have it done pretty soon, and we'll put out a date when the album's coming out. But in the meantime, we figured people needed some music right now,
Oh my
and
gosh.
we put out a few songs.
Yes, definitely. I think social media has really like proved to be one of those great things. At first we were all like, oh, it's too much social media, too much going on. But right now we kind of depend on it. We are in the
Yes,
quarantine, we're in the clubs, we're in concerts.
exactly.
And so it's always amazing. So I want to know what life is like for you with this new quarantine life, the new normal, because first of all, we have gotten a look inside of your new home, which is absolutely amazing. And
Well, we bought a new office that is a home, but it's meant to be an office actually. We Chrissy has her business cravings where they have the website, they have a lot of kitchenware,
her
and
what?
she has a
Her what, John? Say it again.
exactly she has her cookbook. And so the house that was reported that we bought wasn't for us to live in, it was for her team to work in. And we also are going to build a studio in that house as well for me to do some writing and recording there. So that's a work house. And the house you've been seeing me you've been seeing my IG lives from is where we live. And we've been living there for 4 years.
I
That's
love
where I
that.
am right
You
now.
gotta love when a black man make it and say, "Listen, that's my workhouse." Okay, y'all
Well,
know this is a real house.
it's like saying we bought an office building or office,
Yeah,
office floors or whatever, and we're gonna get work done there and run our businesses there.
I love that. And it's always so cute to see you and your family. You guys are so adorable, and y'all are making the most out of quarantine life because you had a camp out, like a camp
Yeah.
in the yard. So is that with two kids? I'm sure you have to keep the activities going. And so, do you guys switch up? Like, okay, you get the kids for a couple hours, and then I'm gonna work on my stuff, and then vice versa.
We just make it work. Chrissy's mother lives with us as well, so we have, lots of hands and and can make sure we can all help each other and fill in the gap whenever we need to.
It looks
And Chrissy's the most creative one. She's always coming up with crazy stuff for the kids to do, like the camping in the backyard, the wedding for our stuffed animals.
And you fall right in line. Like, you're like, whatever.
Yeah. You know, it's funny because my dad was like that. He was very creative with us when we were kids. And I'm not really like that, but Chrissy's like that. There's always one parent that's like always got a fun idea for the kids. And that's how Chrissy is. That's how my dad was too, though. He was always coming up with treasure hunts and fun little things for us to do.
So fun. But you know what? You have been showing off some more skills, because we can call you Chef John, because
I can cook.
Putting in time in the kitchen as well.
Yeah, but I could cook for a long time. We just didn't have to cook as much, but now we're home all the time and we're cooking. Yeah.
I love that. All right, so John, I have 5 things that people did not know about you.
Yeah.
Okay. So you said Legend is not the name that you would have chosen. Instead, it was a nickname that your friends gave you. Yeah.
The first guy that started calling me the Legend was a guy named Jay Ivy. He's a poet and a spoken word artist and actor. And he started calling me that because he was in the studio with me and Kanye. And Kanye would always have me sing things that sounded like I was one of the samples that he used to sample. And Jay Ivy just thought I sounded like the artist we grew up listening to. And he just started calling me the Legend. And then that kind of morphed into John Legend. And a lot of our circles started calling me that. And then Kanye put my name on a mixtape as John Legend. I hadn't even officially changed my name to John Legend as a stage name. But that was the first time people started knowing me as John Legend. And so there came a point when a lot of people that were listening to our music already knew me as John Legend. And so I decided I was going to run with it as my stage name. And, you know, I knew it was going to be a lot of pressure for me. Because
but you so lived up to it. That's so ironic. You're like,
well, you know, sometimes you gotta bet on yourself sometimes, and that's what I did.
Okay, so a lot of people didn't know that not only did you get into Harvard, you also received a scholarship to Georgetown right here in DC. You know, I'm in DC. You received a scholarship to Georgetown University and ended up ultimately going to the University of Pennsylvania. So
that was true.
Why you didn't want to come to DC, John? I'm trying to figure out. You had a whole scholarship.
I got a scholarship to Penn too. They gave me a great scholarship offer as well. And so I was just deciding between different financial aid offers because I needed the money. We didn't have the money to send me to school. And Penn gave me the best offer. And, you know, I had a few family members that were in that area too. So it was a little bit more easy for me to make a transition there. And so we ended up going to Penn. And I don't regret it. I had a great time in Philly. Being in Philly was Philly was a good time for me to be there, actually, because so much good music was going on at that time with the Roots and all the artists that they were bringing into town. They were doing all these, open mics called Black Lily and all these other things. So there was so much good energy there for a musician, for artists that wanted to make soul music. Being in Philly at that time was a really, really important time in my life, and it was an important time in Philly's music history. So it was a good time for me to be around.
That's dope. That's dope. And then I heard you had a corporate job. And
I worked as a management consultant.
and you would
Isn't that crazy?
Write and sing at night because music has always been in you.
Yes, that's absolutely right. I worked as a management consultant during the day, but I would do gigs and write at night. I was living in Boston my first year, but New York after that. And so I moved to New York in the year 2000. I had graduated from college in 99. And, I just started meeting different producers, managers, and other people that could help my career along. And it was a good place for me to be. and I was just gigging, doing little shows, selling CDs out of the back of my trunk. Back when people used to
Were you
listen.
popping the trunk, John?
Yeah, back when people used to listen to CDs, I used
No,
to.
that was the grind. Like,
Yes, I would sell my CDs. I had a website back when that was pretty early on too, and
I'm sorry.
I would be my own shipping person, so people would order the CDs online. I would go to the post office in the East Village in New York and ship them, and I was just doing everything I needed to do to get my career off the ground and build a fan base. And I was just hoping that I would get discovered, and a few people kind of were instrumental in that. One was my lawyer at the time, who's still my lawyer. One was the manager that he introduced to me. We're not working together now, but his name is David Sonnenberg, and we managed the Fugees and a lot of big artists during the 90s and early
So
2000s.
now it makes sense because I didn't know that you did the piano.
Well, I didn't meet my manager then. I met
Oh,
him
okay.
much later. I was in college when I played piano on Miss Education of Lauryn Hill. But one more person I met in early 2000s in New York was Kanye, and I met him because he was moved. He had moved to New York recently, and his cousin was my roommate. And his cousin Devon and I had gone to college together, and we were roommates in New York. And he introduced us when Kanye moved to New York, and I had just moved to New York, and thought we should work together. And we started working together, and I ended up signing to his production company. And Kanye really helped my career really take off through all the collaborations we did.
How's your relationship with Kanye now? You guys?
We're cool. You know, we kind of are doing our own thing. He's in Wyoming doing his own thing, and
Yeah.
we both got families and kids, and we don't have a formal business relationship anymore. But we're cool. You know, if I see him, we talk. We have so much history together that will never be erased. We obviously have disagreed on some things publicly, politically, and
I mean, it happens.
that hasn't changed either. But you know, there's so much history that we have in common. We're always going to have that connection.
Well, you've always been outspoken politically,
Yeah.
and Diddy recently made some comments,
Yeah.
basically saying that we're holding the black vote hostage. We need to have some things on the table, and we need some things met. So how do you feel? Are you kind of on board with that, or
Well,
do you agree?
I don't believe black people are monolithic, so I don't like saying black people are going to do this or black people are going to do that, because there's a lot of us, and there are millions of us all over the country, and there's a lot of different political beliefs within our community, and there's a lot of different opinions in our community. So I don't like to speak about us as a monolith, but I will say that I think a lot of times politicians take us for granted, and we shouldn't allow them to do that. We have to make them fear losing our vote, and make some effort to win our vote. So that doesn't mean the same thing to everybody, because everybody has different wish lists of the things that they want. But we need to make sure politicians are doing right by us and not taking us for granted. And the way you do that is you make noise. You make your voices heard. You call them. You make them fear losing your vote. And you really have to do that through activism. Voting is like the final step. Activism, organization, making sure your demands are heard. Those are the things that have to happen throughout their term, throughout their campaign, through all this time, not just on the Tuesday in November. So I think we all have to be clear about the kinds of things we want to see our politicians doing for us, and then make sure they know.
All right, so 2 more things before I let you go, John. First, we got to talk about The Voice.
Yes.
You have been doing incredible, but I feel like every time I interview you, something always happens a little bit before where people are so upset with you. Have you been reading the headlines? People like just being upset? that you, I guess, pitted contestants against one another? Like, that's the biggest thing from a few weeks ago.
Well, my biggest issue is I end up, it's like a gift and a curse because I end up winning a lot of the 4-chair turns. So, you know, that's kind of a humble brag. But the problem with that, but the problem with that is you end up having to pit some of the top people against each other. And so, luckily, there's opportunities for steals and there's opportunities for saves so that some of those people end up spreading out to other teams. But because I win so many 4-chair turns, I end up having to put some of the 4-chair turns against each other. And
I win so many.
I know, it's like I said, it's a gift and a curse, and I don't want to discourage anybody from picking me next time I get a 4-chair turn. But I will say, if there's too many on my team, eventually I'm going to have to pit them against each other. Right. And we had to reduce the group so quickly on this season because it was always planned to be a slightly shorter season because of the Olympics. And we're not having the Olympics now, and now we have this coronavirus crisis. But it was always planned to be a shorter season. And so we had to quickly narrow down this season. So it just seems worse this season because of that. And
I mean, but isn't the purpose of competition? You want to go,
you know,
best, so
the best person I think is still going to win, but people get eliminated more quickly because of this process.
Okay. And so last but not least, we got to talk about this upcoming album. The singles that you have been dropping. I mean, people, the reviews that I have been reading, not only did you say that this will be your sexiest album yet, but that there may be some quarantine, but no, what did you say? Corona babies. I said quarantine babies.
Yes.
Born. So what made you want to get, it's not even X-rated, but what made you want to make this album so super sexy?
Well, you know, I never go into an album with a plan. I just go into an album ready to write, I have a few people in mind maybe that I want to collaborate with, that I'm you know, liking what they're doing at that time. But other than that, I don't really know what I'm going to write about until I get into the process. And I always call it a discovery process because it helps me figure out where I am at that time in my life and what I want to say at that time. And it just came out sexier, this album. You know, it's definitely sexier. And I haven't really even discover. I haven't even really played y'all the sexiest songs on the album yet.
What are you waiting for?
We're still finishing some of them, but yeah, it's soulful, it's sexy, it's fun. I think it's probably my most danceable album too. It's gonna be
in the bed or just
wherever you like to dance, you know, just wherever you like to move. But it's a really feel good album, and I'm excited for the chance to give it to people. It's gonna happen soon, early summer.
What's your favorite track from the album? And I know it's like trying to pick a child, trying to pick a kid, but right now, because you know, some days you feeling this one, then other days you're like, oh, I got. So right now,
I think my favorite right now, I have this track called Ooh La, which I love. And Ooh La is a euphemism for what's down there. And it's saying, I can't wait to get home and have some Ooh La. And that's the whole song basically, is talking about Ooh La. And it's kind of a mix of doo-wop and trap, if you can imagine that.
Is that one kind of almost finished, John? Because I feel like we need that one.
Yes,
we need to hear that one.
I think that's the next one we'll drop.
Okay, I like that. And does Chrissy, do you play the songs for your wife? Does she give the thumbs up like, okay, yeah?
She'll tell me she likes it. And, she likes Ooh La.
I'm sure the way you described it. So summer 2020 is when we can expect the album. The tour may be coming in the fall or this year. It's most likely going to get postponed. Just to be really honest, because
we're just looking at what's happening in the world, and we want to make sure it's safe for people to come to the show. So we will probably postpone the tour. So if you have tickets, we'll make sure you're taken care of one way or the other. Either if we postpone and give you new dates, we'll allow you to use the tickets for that date if you want to, and we'll refund you if you can't use the tickets for a later date. So one way or the other, we'll make sure everybody's taken care of. And we want to make sure when you do come to the show that it's safe and you can have a good time without worrying about catching the virus.
I love that. And if my final question for you, John, if you had to do a battle, because I would love to see that, is there anybody in mind? And I know a lot of artists, they're like, even Babyface, he was just like, you know, L.A. Reid said, we can just do a celebration of Black music. But then he said Andre Harrell was like, man, you better, and Diddy called, stop being shy in battle. So,
well, what I love about the battles that is a little different from what I do, most of the battles we've been seeing have been producers who have been behind the scenes making music that a lot of people might have not known they made. And so what's dope about the battles to me is the education aspect, because y'all know who I am and you know the songs I've made mostly. I've been behind the scenes on a few songs, but not really that many. And what we've been seeing with Babyface, with Teddy Riley, that they made all the hits for all the other artists that we love too. And so Swiss Beats, you know, all these people made these great hit songs for other people, and for them to play them all together in one setting, that's the best part of the battle. And so I've only had a few outside songs that I've written for other people like that. So when you hear me, you know that's my music. You hear, you know, All of Me or Ordinary People or Tonight or Used to Love You. You know that's my song because I sang it. But the dope thing about the battles for me is seeing all the things people have done that you don't hear their voice on, but their music is there. And so I feel like the best battles are those battles, the ones that are producer-driven, writer-driven, where you're like, oh, I was behind this hit, I was behind that hit.
Yeah, that is dope. Yeah, that is the dope part about it. Okay, so we may not get a battle from John.
Yeah, not in that sense. You know, I would do like a dueling pianos with Alicia Keys or another artist like that. You know, something more like that.
You know, I picture that playing the piano, playing instruments, y'all going back and forth.
Yeah, I would do something like that. But the versus battles I love are the ones where people are like, this was my hit. You didn't know that? Oh, I was behind the scenes on that. Okay. Yeah, that too. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Well, we'll keep our fingers crossed, John.
Yeah. But I'm gonna keep
have like a family show. So what about Life with the Legends?
We're not doing any reality shows soon, but we get offered that all the time. Honestly, people want us to do one.
Last time, like, no, we probably.
Yeah, we share plenty about our family on like Instagram and other places. I feel like that's enough.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, John. I appreciate it. I know you probably have a full day. Actually, you have a lot going on. So.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of interviews, but we've been doing them with all the local radio stations and just catching up with everybody, because we normally, when I have new music, I'd be going around to the different stations around the country, and haven't been able to do that, so we're doing it virtually now.
Well, this is our new normal.
Yes, it is.
Appreciate you for taking the time out to do it, so thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Have a great one. So as always, let me tell y'all can go to mymagicdc.com. Y'all can check out our website. If you haven't been on there in a while, go check it out. You can download our app. If you have not downloaded the Magic app on your phone, I don't know what you're waiting for. So yeah, go do that now.